Members of the jury, you have been entrusted with a solemn duty here. Your role is pivotal in determining the truth beyond all doubt in this case. Your task is to carefully weigh the evidentiary merits presented before you and apply the law with clarity and impartiality. At the outset, it is important to understand the nature of the charges before us. The defendant stands accused of committing both a felony and a misdemeanor. A felony, as you are aware, is a serious crime that carries significant penalties upon conviction. Conversely, a misdemeanor, while less severe, still requires careful consideration of the facts and the law. In evaluating the evidence presented during this trial, you must remember that the burden of proof rests with the prosecution. It is not enough for the prosecution to merely suggest guilt. They must prove it beyond all doubt. This standard demands that you, as members of the jury, must be convinced of the defendant's guilt based on the evidence presented, to a degree that excludes any reasonable doubt in your minds. Evidentiary considerations are central to your deliberations. You have heard testimony from witnesses, seen exhibits, and listened to arguments from both sides. It is your duty to assess the credibility of witnesses, weigh the relevance of each piece of evidence, and determine its whole value in relation to the charges at hand. Remember, members of the jury, your task is not to determine guilt based on speculation or emotion, but rather on the facts as they have been presented in this courtroom. Each element of the alleged crimes must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. If you find that any element has not been sufficiently proven, you must acquit the defendant of that charge. Now, let us discuss the principles of law that apply to this case. The law provides clear definitions of what constitutes a felony and a misdemeanor. It is your duty to apply these definitions to the facts as you find them, without bias or prejudice. As you talk, consider the impact of your decision on both the defendant and society at large. A conviction for a felony can have far-reaching consequences, affecting not only the individual, but also their family and community. On the other hand, a misdemeanor, while less severe, still carries implications for the defendant's future. In reaching your verdict, you may consider the instructions provided to you by the court. These instructions outline the legal standards you must apply and the considerations you should take into account. They are designed to guide you in your deliberations and ensure that justice is served in accordance with the law. Members of the jury, the responsibility you bear is significant. Your deliberations must be thorough and conscientious. Take the time you need to review the evidence, consider the arguments, and engage in meaningful discussion with your fellow jurors. In conclusion, remember that your duty as jurors is to seek the truth, apply the law fairly, and render a just verdict based on the evidence presented in this courtroom. Your decision will have a lasting impact on the lives of those involved and the integrity of our judicial system. Your service as jurors is essential to upholding the principles of justice upon which our society is founded. Remember that the principles of fairness, impartiality, and respect for the rule of law guide your discussions. Each of you brings unique perspectives and experiences to the jury room, and it is through open and respectful dialogue that you can reach a consensus. While the decision you make today may not always be easy, it is essential that it reflects a careful consideration of all the evidence and the application of the law. Your collective judgment must be based on reason and logic, setting aside any personal biases or external influences. Ultimately, the goal of our justice system is not only to punish wrongdoing, but also to ensure that justice is served fairly and consistently. Your role as jurors is integral to achieving this goal, as you uphold the principles of due process and protect the rights of all individuals involved in this case. In closing, I urge you to approach your deliberations with diligence and integrity. The trust placed in you by the court and the community demands nothing less. Your commitment to upholding the principles of justice is commendable, and I have full confidence in your ability to fulfill your duty with the utmost respect for the law and the truth.